would you consider your interview with Joy Reid to be like your most viral moment?
Probably. Although I danced with President Trump and that got a lot of the dance got a lot of play, but I think this was a big moment. The Joy Reid interview was really a moment where we showed America that the whole idea of the kids need the books was a lie.
How did you prepare for this interview? Because she's such a see you next Tuesday, and she's so kind of dishonest with you in this interview. Did you know what to expect? Did you know how much time you were going to have? Did you know what kind of questions she was going to ask you?
Yeah, you ask good questions. It's interesting. So they told me 6 to 7 minutes. It ended up running about 16. And I didn't know what we were going to talk about. I had no idea. They had wanted me to come in and they wanted me to do a taped interview for like a couple of years. And I said, no, I wouldn't do taped, but I would come in live. And so we did a town hall in New York and I went in the next night. How did I prepare? Would you like to know the truth of how I
Yes.
prepared? Okay, I'll tell you. So there's a book called You Are the Message by Roger Ailes. And Roger talks about
he was the Fox News guy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He talks about how when he would go out for scouting for the Mike Douglas show, and he would go and meet different people around the country, news anchors, and he would go into his hotel room because you couldn't just go online and watch them. You had to actually go to the location so you could see them. And he would turn the show on that they were on, and he would put it on mute. And then he would watch it for 5 to 10 minutes and he would see if there was anything that person did within the 5 or 10 minutes that made him want to turn the volume up. And
I think I've heard this before.
Yeah. And so whenever I do news and media, I always think about, you are the message. Everything about you is the message. And I just thought I'm going to go on this show. And there are a lot of people that are going to think that they hate me. They've been told that I want to ban books or that I don't like kids who are gay, or that I don't believe in equal rights, or, all these different things they've been told about me. I'm a racist, I'm a transphobe, I'm a bigot, whatever. And this was my one opportunity for them to see me and to hear me talk with joy. And I just thought, I'm going to keep a smile on my face. I'm going to be, we call it a joyful warrior at Moms for Liberty. And I'm just going to be really honest and engage with her in a joyful manner. And then I went on and she played a clip of the first time. I know, but I sat down and she said, we're just going to play this clip of you on Bannon's War Room. And I was like, oh, I wonder which one she's going to. And then
Steve Bannon's show. Okay.
She showed, with Steve. And she showed the first time I was ever in studio with him, which was such a happy moment. And I watched it and she said, he had asked me to define parental rights. That's something he was very good about when I first started. Like, make sure you define parental rights, Tiffany. You need to explain to people what those are. And so she shows it, cuts to me, and she says, do you still stand for what you said on the show? And I was like, absolutely. And then she said, and what about Black parents? Do they have rights? And I was like, yep. And what about gay parents or parents with gay kids? Do they have rights? And I said, yep. And it was just awesome. And so then we just were off to the races, and I just took every opportunity to kind of show all the holes in her argument. And I think I did.
Wow. Okay. I know there's a moment on here. This whole interview is so good. Were you scared to talk to her? I would be. I don't know.
I loved it. It was great. That's my Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah. You just absolutely rose to the occasion. Okay, let me click on this.
All parents. Sure. So let me point you to some statistics, because the question becomes then who gets to decide what all kids get to read. The Washington Post took a look at that about 1,000 plus books.
The book, I can't remember the title of it, but the book is like, you give specific examples of a book that is in public schools.
All the Boys Aren't Blue. Yeah.
All Boys Aren't Blue. There's like hand job instructions in there. They mention dildos, and like, you're saying the things that like are uncomfortable to say, but I think you have to say them, because then, just like I think you mentioned with on PBD's show, you're like, you have to look at the book. You have to hold it in your hands and look through it to know. And if you as an adult are getting creeped out by it, how do you think kids feel? And Joy's trying, well, don't you want gay parents and gay kids to read this? And you were like, well, and this was a perfect moment where Joy is saying, well, you don't want to deny kids who resonate with this story. And I was like, this is the perfect moment for you. Like, cause she set herself up to be knocked down so perfectly. And you were like, if you resonate with the story of being raped by a family member, then you should be seeing a therapist. You should be, you should get major help. I think it was like just such a really cool moment. I think it was maybe somewhere along the middle. Let me see.
Of a young girl. Mouse, which is a book about the Holocaust, a graphic novel. Genderqueer, a memoir. All Boys Aren't Blue. Beloved, Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington. Ruby Bridges Goes to School. Slaughterhouse-Five, The Color Purple, Forever by Judy Blume.
Oh, she's there. She's mentioning like it's really unfair what she's doing. She's mentioning
she threw a bunch of books together. You had to pick. Listen, this is a fencing match. So you couldn't engage in every single thing that she was going to throw at you. You had to pick and choose. She brings up a book called All the Boys Aren't Blue. And she says, what about a parent who wants their child to have this book? What about a child that feels seen by this book? And my answer back to her was, Joy, this book is about a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. If a child feels seen by this book, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. And the idea that we somehow are going to fight harder to keep these books in libraries in case a kid needs to stumble upon it, then we are going to be honest about the fact that, again, kids have been treated like such garbage in this country. If we have an epidemic of adults that are preying on children, if there are so many children that are being molested that need this type of intervention, then my God, we need to take a hard look in the mirror and do something better than be like, oh, let's put some books in the library that has a adult. He writes this book. It's called a memoir manifesto. I'm glad. I hope it was cathartic for him, because it must be a horrible experience to be raped by your family member, anally raped. But does that mean that 12-year-olds who are also being raped need to see this book so that they feel connected? No. In fact, a lot of psychologists will tell you that children who have experienced sexual assault find it very traumatizing to once again come into contact with that type of experience in literature. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, because I interviewed someone called Chad Felix Green. He's very active on Twitter. He's a gay man who said that within the gay male community, there is a problem, an issue that needs to be addressed of older men preying on younger boys. And that's something that is real. It's something that's out there that gay men know, that it's something in the culture of and he talks about, and this is his words, not mine. He talks about it. And his advice to moms who have kids who are gay, especially boys, was protect the you-know-what out of them. To watch them like a hawk and make sure that there aren't predators who are trying to get to their boys. So, this really is an epidemic that I think, of kids just being preyed upon by adults in America. That's why the Q plus on LGBTQ plus is concerning. LGB, sexual orientation. T, mental health distress. If you think you were born in the wrong body, or you think maybe you're a cat, I want you to get the help that you need, but me pretending that you're a cat or born in the wrong body, or that you're a woman or what have you, is not going to help you. And then Q is a political ideology with no limiting principle. Queer theory, Michel Foucault, Judith Butler, others talk about queer theory and being queer. At one point, they liken having a preference for children and sexual intercourse as liking spicy food.
Oh, come on.
But that's what I'm saying to you. So when you see people say queer or queer plus, they call it minor attracted person, they don't come out against pedophilia, because that in itself would mean that it wasn't queer, because it's a limiting principle. They'd have to put the line somewhere. Wow. And so, drag queen pedagogy, the drag queens in the schools and everything, they talk about the fact that drag is an initiation into queer. And so, again, we come back to the point that kids have just been, if the parents have to protect the kids, Chrissy. It's up to us. It's up to the parents, because nobody else is going to protect them like we are. And we've been sold this lie, this bill of goods, that somehow we have to make other people feel happy and comfortable in their lives at our children's expense. And that's just not true.
No, and it never used to be that you'd have to, I don't know. I just think growing up, my parents were not asking me what I was learning, and they weren't asking anything about school. I mean, I wonder if it's because my mom worked in the middle school at the time, she was in the school system So
I don't think people had to worry as much, though.
They weren't worried.
Critical theory and queer theory. I mean, I'm 45. How old are you?
I'm 41.
Okay, so same generation, right? I just don't think our parents had to worry about these things as much. I think that there was, I think it was the start of indoctrination happening in our schools, or our schools starting to be used as thought formation. So I'll just give you like a history lesson quickly. I'll be fast. In 1978, something was passed called the Women's Equity Act. And then you started to see federal money coming in once the Department of Education was created to kind of to work on changing the way that kids thought about things. There was a big move and pilot project to change the way that women and men thought about themselves and their roles in society, for kids to question that. Marlo Thomas and Carol Channing were commissioned to write a song. They had cutouts of men and women with clothes, but there wouldn't be female clothes. It was only boys. And so feminism, if we don't think that feminism spectacularly failed, we could just look at all the 12-year-old, 13-year-old girls that don't think they want to grow up to be women and moms, and recognize how spectacularly feminism failed in America to really help women.
Yes, absolutely. Because a lot of these girls who end up transitioning, it's because they have been abused and they are ashamed of their femininity. And that's why they want their female parts gone. And they want to kind of, and they never end up looking male or masculine. They kind of just look asexual. They look just kind of in between. Because you're not going to get rid of your small frame, that you have as like a 12, 13-year-old girl.
Plus the fact, Chrissy, that when kids go through puberty, there are a million things that are happening. Mental development, their prefrontal cortex, bone density, like the idea that we just stop secondary sex characteristics with puberty blockers, and that, the kid can just, is like development and growing up is like a light switch we can turn on and off. Parents, please know these drugs are not reversible. They cause lifelong harm for your children, and parents have been lied to about stuff like that across America. It's really the moment for parents to stand up and just to say, demand the truth. Just demand the truth. Say, we want accurate information so we can make the best decisions for our kids. Company, you want to make the cereal with red food dye? You know what? Then tell me it's going to give my kid cancer, and then I get to make the choice about whether or not I want to give it to them.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Come and get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.